Good evening, everyone, here and whoever might be listening when this goes streaming. This is the EDC, Economic Development Commission's first meeting of 2025. It is Thursday, January 16th, and I'm calling the meeting to order. So opening remarks, there has been a lot going on in the background, as you can imagine. First of all, I'd like to welcome Justin Wood, who has just been appointed as the Planning Department's representative to the EDC. So welcome, Justin. This is the first time with your addition and also the addition of Angela Achu last September that we have had a full complement in a while. So the board is at the full capacity of 7 members. And there has been, as we all know, there was a lot of churn and burn last year, people leaving. John Allen, who was an employee of the town of Grafton and was a consultant to the EDC, he left last June, and we did not have meetings until September when Angela was appointed. And then we just found out, working backwards, because the communications amongst the different departments, broke down. So we were finding things out working backwards, and I'm not pointing any fingers, just stating facts. Mm-hmm. So Craig also came back, so you're a new but old veteran member, not old, but you're a veteran member, and Craig is the select board's representative. We have 2 people who are not here tonight. Sean McCovey, who is one of the at-large members, and Sean is a Grafton townie along with Angela. They've been here, their families have been here, and Craig for I don't know how many generations, and Carl Moyson, who couldn't make it this evening. So we only found out by pure happenstance that Justin was elected, because they didn't tell us that, so it was a good thing. We were originally going to have the meetings on Monday nights, and it looks like that's not really going to work out for us. So we'll table that discussion till the other part of the business. But one of the things that we found out that we didn't know was that we have to do an EDC has to do an annual report to the town.
Yes.
That is due by January 31st. I didn't know that because John Allen did it. And he didn't leave when he left at the end of June. We didn't have the files or anything like that. So I have been talking to Fiona Coughlin, our town planner here in Grafton, and she said, this is due. Oh, and by the way, there's another item that's due, and we'll get to that. So I worked with Fiona. She says we worked backwards, and Natalia, who is Fiona's admin in the town planning office, sent me the 2024 thing, which I think I sent to all of you. Mm-hmm. And I worked with Fiona. She says, well, listen, I can, take the lead on doing this since this is the first time. So you should have all gotten a copy of that draft. So
right before this meeting, Fiona also sent a draft of the 2025 version that I can share, at least through the Zoom too.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so that was, well, I had the 2025 one, and we had talked, Fiona and I talked about this, and I said one thing that I think is essential is that we discuss, that we say within the body of this, hey, there's been a lot of change, upheaval, but now we're at full strength. We've got a really great board. We're very energized, and we're looking forward to making a difference. So that is in there in the last paragraph, as you all can see. So we are going to continue to focus, as we said, on bringing highly desirable jobs at various skill levels, you know, to the town. An expansion, and we're looking forward to getting out and pressing the flesh, talking to the business owners that we do have, and see how we can expand on things. And there are a lot of initiatives. I think last year we did focus on, when John was here early in the year, we got off to a great start with that event at the post office pub. We had a big turnout, Justin, and it was a cold January night, and still we had, I would say, at least 100 people that came in and out at any given times, you know, and we're looking to do something like that again. But that's something up for discussion. So, does anybody have anything that they would like to add to this document?
I'm on the second page now, but I can scroll back up if you need. For anyone.
Sure. It's due on the 31st. So what we can do, if anybody wanted to add anything, is put it in there. But I think this is fairly comprehensive.
I would say for the members that were here for the majority of last year, I mean, it's basically a play-by-play of
Yeah.
I'm sure it talks about the event at the pub and the
Yes.
committee changes and whatever else, you know, whatever other activities the committee was involved in. So, and that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Yeah. So we can vote on this now.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything that
Yeah.
wasn't on there that we did.
Yeah, the only thing that I could think of, which I said to Fiona, I think we should include just a little historical background for anybody who's reading this, because I know Angela coming on has been very proactive in saying, let's work backwards and tell me about this. So, what's been going on? Okay, so with that said,
Do you want us to give it a read, Laura? You did a lot of great work. Do you want us just to read it out loud, or I don't think it would take very long. Or we could, I think maybe even to touch on the goals of where we are. There's 9 goals listed.
yes.
Do you want
So,
me to give it a shot?
sure, go ahead.
Okay. All right. You want me to take it from the top or just where the goals are?
Well, what we can take it from the top. I mean, we
Okay.
talk about being fully staffed, and we also
Sure.
state who's doing what.
Okay. So the report of the Economic Development Commission, the Grafton Economic Development Commission, EDC, is charged with promoting sustainable economic development and assisting the Select Board and Planning Board in the implementation of the town's economic goals and objectives. Now fully staffed, the commission has 7 members. Each member is an appointed volunteer. The current commissioners are Laura Ditto, Chairwoman, Carl Moisen, Sean McGavey, Nicole Ethier, Angela Achu, Craig Dolphiny, Select Board Representative, and Justin Wood, Planning Board Representative. During calendar year 2024, the EDC focused on the following initiatives: attracting tenants to the newly permitted 124 Westboro Road warehousing development, promoting the Grafton Science Park at Discovery Drive to potential tenants, supporting ongoing developments before the Planning Board, promoting available space at 232 Worcester Street, formerly known as 244 Worcester Street, to prospective buyers and tenants, hosting the Grafton's Open for Business meeting in coordination with the Planning Department, the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, and local business owners, advertising Grafton at events via booths, exhibits, and networking, including the Corridor 9, 495 Chamber of Commerce, and the Blackstone Valley Chamber of Commerce, circulating and publishing a business owners survey, informing the economic development chapter of the updated master plan, and implementing the 2021 Local Rapid Recovery Plan, LRRP, with available, I think this should be ARPA
ARPA,
funds?
yes,
Okay,
ARPA, not,
so that's the only little
yeah.
adjustment there on the acronym. The EDC continues to focus on bringing highly desirable jobs at various skill levels to town, expanding the non-residential tax base, and strengthening the the local economy. The town has prime real estate for the warehousing, manufacturing, life sciences, and biomedical fields, to name a few. The EDC prioritizes marketing available land and infrastructure to major businesses, as well as maintaining strong partnerships with state and regional organizations such as Mass Bio, Mass Econ, and Life Sciences of Central Massachusetts to assist in that effort. Advertising was a key resource throughout the calendar year, with ads placed in Worcester Magazine, Livability Worcester, and the Worcester Business Journal. Each outlet is circulated widely to drivers of economic development and commerce. The EDC underwent several changes in the past year, including staffing, budget, and internal organization. Looking forward, the EDC plans to conduct a formal reorganization and reinvigoration of their roles and responsibilities. The EDC's top goals for 2025 are to improve their online presence, expand their charge, develop new strategies for attracting and retaining businesses, finalize budgeting, work with developers to bolster the town's economic base via the development of commercial and industrial land, continue to support adding public Wi-Fi to Whitney Park, Perry Hill Park, the Grafton Common, and Mill Villages Park. Continue to support investment in Whitney Park, Perry Hill Park, making it a safe and enjoyable community space for all. And these are, there's references that this is recommended in the LRRP. Implement recommendations from the Grafton Master Plan when complete, and host events, opportunities to strengthen partner relationship. I think maybe it's relationships, if that's, we'll just add an S to that.
Yes.
Below are funds exceeding 2,500 distributed to a single vendor in the last year. Journal Communications, Inc. Is it Livability?
Livability.
Worcester
Livability, yep.
Magazine. So Livability Worcester Magazine for 3,800, respectfully submitted by Laura on behalf of the EDC. So for me, just reading it is substantive. It identifies, I think, what Craig said, much really
Yes.
great body of work. It gives a nice background to where we were, where we are, and what's been achieved in the past calendar year, and then what our goals are currently. So outside of just a few items that we noted, we'll just, update the part with the ARPA funds, maybe add an S in the relationships, and outside of that, for me at least, I think it's very comprehensive. It's very helpful to see below too where funds have been spent, given the fact that when we regrouped in September, we had learned that we didn't have a budget, in that immediate month, but it's something that's part of our discussion. It's something we'll pursue. But nice job. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for taking the lead.
Oh, you're welcome. So can we vote on this, and then I'll send
Well, and
around?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak for everybody. So if anyone else has any comments.
No comments.
So can we vote to adopt this?
Sure, I'll make a motion to adopt.
I second. Say
Yep, Aaron? Okay, the motion is carried.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, no abstentions. Okay, no opposition. Great.
Okay, and I will make those corrections and then send it around again and copy, Fiona Coughlin, who wanted to be here tonight, but she had a conflict, but she is going to try and make it to our February meeting. So, item number 3 is the EDC spring events discussion, and that dovetails with conversation. I had a very long conversation. By the way, I picked up the thumb drive from Natalia the other day and had a very long discussion with Fiona and Natalia, her admin. This thumb drive has John Allen's files. Okay, I downloaded some of the stuff, but I know, if anybody wants to borrow the thumb drive, I'll also send you what I downloaded. The files were not really, extensive, but, if anybody wants to see them, it's not like there's 500 files there. I would say there's probably 20. And the ones that are most pertinent to us, were, the things about the Zoom info, where there were some business folks, there was the survey that we did last year, and I think I know you guys have been getting a lot of correspondence from me. So I hope I wasn't wearing you out, but if anybody wants to borrow the thumb drive and look at it, I will be sending copies of the files that are on there, in any event.
Can I ask you a question? Is there a way for, some staff to just, I don't know how big a document or file it would be to just, if it's downloaded on that, to just send it to everybody?
Yeah, well, what happened was, I asked Natalia that, and she said, they didn't have a lot of time, so she downloaded it and gave me the thumb drive, and I came up and picked it up. And at that point, by the way, that leads into something else. I'm sorry if I seem to be going off on tangents, but this is the way I've been finding things out. So, based on the fact that we are reinvigorated and we have full complement of members here on the commission, and I know, Craig, you were talking about this you said you were going to address the select board about getting a line item budget back on the line, as a line item on the budget. Fiona also said the other day that, number one, they would be giving us, we would have access to one of her admins, part-time, to assist us with some of the administrative tasks. Number two, she is supportive of getting the budget, getting us back and having an actual budget. Before I came here tonight, just late afternoon, I got a call from Evan Broussard, who said, did we have a preference to having William, one of his admins at the meeting, or doing stuff for us, or Fiona's? I said, honestly, no, there's no preference. It's nice to have somebody, but it looks like we will be back as a line item and have a budget. So Fiona does, as I said, she wanted to be here tonight, and she will. She's going to make a point to try and come to our February meeting. So they are supportive of having events. Everybody I spoke to, Fiona, Natalia, Evan, is very enthusiastic about the complement that we have on the board and the fact that we have specific goals. So
Good.
That's what's going on there. So with that said, I think we can start to look at planning that event for the spring. And what do we think? I guess the question here is, what do we want to do? I think we like that event at the post office pub, so something like that. But what we had discussed was putting a little bit more structure and framework around it. Justin, just for your information, what we had was a meet and greet, and it was very successful. This time, we'd like to gather more information from these folks, and we did do a survey last year, which I authored, and it didn't get a great response. So the idea was, okay, let's ask these people to maybe just fill out a short survey while they're there, or even ask them, but also get in front of the folks in Grafton who are already business owners, and send out invites to maybe prospective folks, and maybe send them a survey in advance, or just a small one, because people get weary of filling out a lot of things. There's survey fatigue. It's like, oh no, I got to do one more thing.
Past experiences, surveys, you're lucky to get 50 people in this town for anything on a survey.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I do surveys for a living. I'm an investigative reporter, and I'm a consultant in high technology. And it was different 20 or 25 years ago, when people were not so overwhelmed with, in the digital age. So I'd love to hear what everybody thinks in terms of timing. Justin, what we were thinking about was probably April, in that range. And then it's just putting the framework around it and the content. So, anybody have any other ideas?
I know it would be aggressive, right, to get into a spring event. So if that's what we're looking for, then I think it's about identifying the venue and seeing what there is for availability. And thank you, Nicole. Your email was so helpful to see the prior work that you did for the January 2024 event. So that listed venues in town, the price range, the amount of time that we could be there, the like food options or no options. So that was really helpful. So I don't know if we want to revisit that at this meeting right now. If you seem to, in my mind, you seem to have that information so handy.
Yeah, and I'm happy to reach out to any other businesses if you guys have different ideas. But I had reached out to last year Highfields, Townhouse Tavern, Reunion, and Post Office Pub. So Post Office Pub, as far as like the room rental, was sort of the least expensive that also had food. Townhouse Tavern was the least expensive, but obviously you have to bring your own food in there because they don't have the
Yeah.
ability to like provide it to us. And I think we were thinking, you know, with people having a cash bar available and stuff, it would be a good idea to have food available too.
Especially on a cold night.
Yes.
But if you guys have other ideas about other businesses or places we could host this, I'm happy to reach out and get more information.
You know, I do like,
Doubtful that much has changed in a year as far as like
Yeah.
the prices and stuff, but
I do like the Post Office Pub because the room was big. They have, the cash bar seemed to work. And it's centrally located in Grafton. But you know, I'll go with what the majority says, and it's, you know, it's the least expensive. And I thought they did a good job in terms of, you know, the food and everything, and it was good for people to mingle, and there were some tables where people could sit down and talk.
Got a little tight, I
Yeah.
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the pub is great, you know, it's been there a long time, but it would be nice, I think, to move it around to some other businesses if we have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can certainly, you know, I know Sargon very well. I can certainly talk to him about that side room that he has, which is a nice venue, or I could talk to.
And what is that, Reunion or?
That's Reunion,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and I could talk to the townhouse, I could, you know, talk to Brooke and Joanne. I think they would probably give us the room. I don't wanna speak for them, but it would be, I think, minimal. And then you got Bushel and Peck next door, so if we wanted to get some catering,
True, yeah.
Yeah.
he could just come over and set some things up.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they were only gonna charge us $100, so
yeah,
I'm sure.
so,
Could probably-
You know,
even
we
waive
could
that.
also probably ask, you know, somebody like, Lucky at Pepperoni Express. He's been very supportive and could give us a discounted rate. Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, I think I'll echo what Craig said about, you know, sharing our venue
yeah,
around the town.
Sure.
You know, if we always do the same one business, it may rubs other people the wrong way. I don't know.
Yeah, it
I
does.
don't know for sure.
Reunion is very popular.
Yep.
The only issue with Reunion is the parking, and
Yep.
the same thing with the Grafton Grill next door.
And Townhouse Tavern also has limited parking.
Yes.
And right there, you can. They're all on the common.
yeah,
Fine.
right.
Yeah, but probably at night, that's not a great thing, the way
Exactly.
people are zooming.
Yeah. My only
Around.
other like partial concern is just in space, because a lot of these venues are, you know, we're talking about, are smaller than even Post Office Pub, and trying to have people that don't feel pressured that they have to leave because there might be other people coming in, or people that want to go there, seeing a crowded place that technically can't get in because of fire code. That may be an issue. That's the only other thought I have.
Well, Highfields has that great room there
Yep.
that they have, that they use for weddings and other functions. And I know,
And that, Nicole, you reached out. to
Yeah,
I
that
guess-
was the most expensive option only because of I think the catering. So the room rental was $500, and then they required food to serve food $32 per person.
And I think Highfields, if I remember looking in the past for myself correctly, they also don't allow external food to be brought in. It's, you know, as a general rule, they
Yeah.
might change it for us,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
the idea that if you're going to use their venue and you want to have food, you need to pay them to provide the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, so they have parking and they have a big room, but they're more expensive, so.
Right.
Um,
Well, money is no object, so.
I know, right? Well,
Evan-
you know, the other thing is,
Evan
if,
said he had plenty of money, so.
if this gets crazy for April, you know, to try and do we can shoot for May.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Okay, yeah.
I
mean,
do. I just think, I think April is pretty aggressive, you know, given, you know, we're all volunteers here, so
Yes.
there's some legwork to do between the venue, food, and then we gotta probably develop a flyer that we can email to the email addresses for the business owners that we have. And one thing we had talked about is maybe, you know, if there's 7 of us, you know, given 5 or 10 to each one and, you know, hand deliver
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And it's a chance to hopefully meet an owner or manager while we're in there and maybe have a discussion about the EDC. So I think it's always good if we can,
Yeah,
you know, to go visit 5 places won't take, you know,
Yeah, for
an
sure.
hour, right? So if people are willing to do that, I'm certainly
Yeah.
willing to
Sure.
Yeah, I am.
knock on
Yes.
some doors
Yeah.
and invite people.
now is it, Nicole, do you want to take the lead on organizing this?
For the venue?
Yeah, well, the reason I'm asking here, just so that we don't get crazy with emails going back and forth, with any one of these initiatives, like to say, okay, 1 or 2 of us will take the lead, and whoever is taking the lead will then send the emails around to all of us, so it's not like,
Yeah. Well, so we're gonna have us, I talked to Evan today as well, and I spoke with him last week, so I think the way he left it with me was that William Blake is gonna be our
Yes.
kind of point staff person. Fiona's gonna come, which is great.
Yeah.
And if her office can, you know, when it's planning board related things, we'd love to have them involved, but, so I think William's gonna be, the point of contact for this, for the town for us, so correspondence, new businesses, because a lot of it goes through that office.
yes,
That's kind of like the central hinge pin for that stuff. And he can certainly, you know, they have all the business records there because they have to pull common vicular's license and all permits for stuff. So he has files of that information. And he's got Cindy and Amber there as well. So they can pump out
Generate like
an
lists.
email and
Yeah.
then send out a reminder email about the event because people forget. And then if we want to hand deliver some stuff.
yeah,
The other thing I did was I talked to Jeannie Hebert from the Blackstone Valley Chamber and told her we were ramping up again here. So she's you know, she's willing to help. You know, if we're looking for, you know, a speaker or something like that, or any, you know, we want her to, you know, because she's got a database of Grafton businesses that are members of the chamber. So I'm not saying we have to engage with her, but she's there if we want to. I don't want it to be a Blackstone Valley Chamber of Commerce event. I don't want it to be a Grafton EDC event. So,
but it's nice to have, it's nice to.
she's great. I mean,
It's nice to have them there, and you never know who she might bring and what can come
That's
of
right.
that. So I understand what you're saying, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
There's a lot of subcommittees within the Blackstone Chamber too, and so there's a Grafton presence there. So
well, we need to network and we need to be,
Yeah.
we need to raise our visibility if we're going to,
right,
you know, have an impact.
we should
And then-
definitely invite her and her
Yep.
staff and whoever, you know, who else. You know, she might have some ideas of some folks to invite. And I think we should make sure we include some people from Tufts. You know,
Yep.
there's some there's a new team up there.
Yeah.
You know, Joe and Gene are gone,
Yep, yeah,
so
okay, well, that sounds good.
we just need to develop a flyer, and I guess we need to have some content to put on that other than So do you want, I mean, I don't wanna, if you wanna, I don't mind talking to the restaurants, or if you wanna do it, or however you wanna do it.
I'm up for whatever.
What did Sargon, what was Reunion?
$600, I think.
Yep, you're right. 600, 3 hours. Required food was $0. Best days, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
That was just for the room, no food?
Correct.
correct.
So I can put him in the torture chamber.
Yeah, the only thing you worry about there is, as I said,
Yeah,
it's especially if we're doing this in May, when people are gonna start to come out after
the night is gonna be, you know, what night you choose is gonna be important too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what.
Obviously, Friday and Saturday night is,
You're not,
we-
yeah.
yeah, you're not getting in
Probably
there.
you're not gonna get it, it's gonna.
Yeah, no, he said Tuesday or Thursday.
Okay. What
Right
was the
about
night at the pub? What was?
Yeah, so that's $175 for 4 hours. Zero commitment on the food order.
I think we ended up doing it on I want to say a Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday or
You're right. It
I-
doesn't.
might have been
Your notes
Thursday.
are so good, Nicole, and there wasn't a required or a best day noted, so they really offered flexibility.
Yeah.
Do you know what we ended up spending on food?
No, because John, since he did the budget, he ordered the food and then we provided soft drinks too
Yes.
as the town, and then we had the cash bar open available for people to purchase their own drinks.
So we don't know what the bill
It
was
was-
to the
it's-
town.
Not unless
It's-
it's in his files.
Yeah, well, we did
Could
get,
find out.
Jason did download some of the
Yeah.
expenditures, but I said, okay, what am I looking at? Because it wasn't
Yeah.
intuitive,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm sure the
But it was it was under what they had to report, you know? We just had that $1,300 thing for the Worcester
Magazine.
magazine livability. So I'm thinking the number was about, what's sticking in my mind, and don't hold me to this, I'll go
Yeah.
back and look, was $698 or something. So it was reasonable.
Because it wasn't a lot. It was like a few appetizers and like
Right.
some pictures of like soft drinks.
Right.
It wasn't
And water, you know,
wasn't
yeah.
Yeah.
extensive.
So, all right, I'll get a hold of Sargon and I'll get a hold of the tavern and see if one of them. I think Highfields is probably out of reach for us, right?
that'd be my guess. It's also not, unless you know Grafton, it's not the most apparent for how to get to it either, in my opinion,
Highfields.
compared to the others anyway. You know, it's not hard. It's just not.
Right. Right.
You gotta look it up.
All right. So I'll talk to them and
Yeah.
see. But Evan, I mean, I told Evan to asked him. I didn't tell him to put $2,500 aside for us. So I think we should be able to
Yeah, that
Pay-
should be plenty for.
pay
Yeah.
for the venue and have
Yeah.
some food for everybody for under that, especially you know.
Yes, and speaking of excellent notes, Angela has been great with putting together the
Minutes.
minutes of the meeting so that, you know, Carl and Sean can also weigh in on that. Okay, so I think we've got a plan in place here now. If we, you know, we've got 4 months, so,
And Wednesday, Thursday. We're thinking Wednesday.
I
or
think
Thursday.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
For business owners, I would think that would be a good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
We're
and
talking 4 months, but basically 2 more full meetings before it's really
Right.
crunch time for us.
Right.
That's the
And just thinking about it, the tavern might be tough because if it's a Wednesday or Thursday, if it's a Wednesday night, that would be great because they're not open. But if it's a Thursday, then we would be sharing the venue, which you don't want to do
And the kids
because
start,
there's only one room
Yeah.
there. Huh?
yeah, the
Yeah,
kids
did
start
they-
coming in at around 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Sydney had told me Sunday through Wednesday was available.
Yeah, that's when.
So
they're
they didn't
closed.
want to do it when
It
they
was
were open.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
yeah, it looks Nicole, again, great notes. It looks like it was only Highfields that had a food requirement, and it's almost as if they didn't understand the ask.
I know, and I did
Yeah.
clarify it with the person that I spoke to. I said we're not looking for like, you know, a buffet dinner here, and they just said this is what our minimum
$32 per person.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
a $500 room rental for a minimum of 4 hours at $32
Yep.
per person.
And I think I even asked if the what's the restaurant up
grand.
there? The tavern,
John Henry.
John Henry's. I think I even asked if that was available versus, you know, the big room where they have the functions. And this is what was available.
Yeah, I think Highfields is primarily set up for a venue. You know how many people are going to be there, and they're going to want food. You know, and so we have X amount of food per person. They eat it, they don't eat it, whatever. But that's not what we're going to. We want people that can literally show up and just come in if they decide, hey, it's last minute, I'm free now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other option is to get on the phone with Beth, who owns and runs the place, and say, hey, Beth.
Yeah.
When I've dealt with her in the past, she's, you know, on other issues, I mean, she's been very amenable, but
Yeah.
they might not be flexible on this issue. You know, who knows? But I mean, we could
Yeah,
at
the
least.
land trust has their dinner, and I forget, me and Carol go every year, but I forget, you know, we buy tickets. I don't think it's cheap, so I don't know what the venue.
I mean, they do beautiful events up there. In
Yeah.
the
Yes.
It's great.
big open room. I've
Yep.
been to several.
Yeah, the Clotter Room. Yeah.
So this is nice. We have 4 venues that we've looked at and one post office pub. I think from the discussion tonight, it's no opposition to the pub. It sounds like a great experience. It's solely about just trying to see if we can spread the business, the opportunity to other businesses. So then it's just the tavern and Reunion. And I think our only concern in both areas is the parking limitations on parking. And
Yeah.
so having it in May with the, better weather, sunshine and all that for people that might need to walk. But I appreciate Justin's point because it's that sometimes when you drive up, it's a really good point. Sometimes when you get close to a place, if you just don't see any parking available, that can be a little challenging. And then just want to make sure we have enough accessible parking for folks that would attend that need accessibility.
It is gonna be tough at Reunion. I mean, it's a great venue, but there are so many other businesses there. That,
We need the inn opened.
Yes.
Yes.
But
Oh.
the South Grafton PTO does a really fun event, like a trivia night for a fundraiser at Reunion, and they pack that room, and people seem to find parking.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't know if it's going to be as big of a problem as we think it is. You know what I mean?
I know.
Packed.
I know.
It's fun. A fun event.
I know Sargon does have a deal for extra parking in the back for over there as well.
Yeah,
which,
Grafton
it's not
Pizza
it's
too.
and I don't remember, but I think at least one of the businesses right next to him also don't usually have open hours at the same time their Reunion's open.
Yeah.
yeah, but you have the Chinese
Yes.
takeout, and they do a
Yeah.
pretty brisk business. But you're right, some of them, the nail place that's there might not do it. Was there a music place or something?
Top of my head, I can't remember right now.
There used to be that Jack's Guitar,
Yeah,
but that's not there anymore.
Right. And so I think the nice thing about Reunion or the tavern is it's a positive in both situations are the true local businesses
Yes.
that are right there and the likelihood that we would be able to have folks come just walk over from the businesses and hopefully whatever venue we pick we can put a little more emphasis too on the businesses that are right around the venue to really get them to come in and speak up and share their thoughts and ideas.
yeah.
And just one other thing, Nicole, if you want to speak to this, one of the parts that I really appreciate in your notes is you have a list of businesses here in town.
I
And
was just trying to get one kind of like
This-
great.
started.
so
Yeah,
you
we
this
have some of that,
list.
that's, I can also send around,
Is-
from John's
Okay.
things that I uploaded.
Because Craig, I think you've mentioned a few times about some new businesses coming to town that you've talked to. I know there's a maybe like, is it Nico's that you've mentioned?
We've already
But-
opened. Yes.
Yeah. And so this, when I saw what Nicole had down, I'm like, this is excellent. And so if we have, I think what you mentioned earlier, Craig, is that for town hall here, that they would have a current list of William Blake would be able to help us with a current list of businesses that are
Yep.
here in town.
Yep.
So that would be wonderful, especially if our goal is to divide up that list. So how would this group like to approach it? I hear what you're saying, Laura. If we could divide up some tasks, assign people, or have people volunteer for those tasks. So the first one we have is the venue. We could find out for the venue, and I think between Craig, what are you, I think you've said that you'll pick up on reaching out to both venues that we were interested in, the Townhouse Tavern and Reunion.
Yep.
So we have
Yeah.
you on venue.
And I can work with William to compile the list of businesses.
From what we have here from
From-
Nicole's, right? See if there's
Yeah.
any others that could be added.
Yeah,
and
because
then-
I'm sure that there have been a few things that have, businesses that have closed.
Yeah,
New
yeah,
ones that
yeah.
have opened, like Nico's, the
And I
juice,
think this was just from like my memory
Yeah.
or something.
the juice
Like
bar.
official.
Crossroads Nutrition changed owners. and-
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. They changed the juice bar in South Grafton.
Yeah,
changed
right.
Owners, and
Yeah.
And
but
there's
they
a,
stayed open.
and there's a salon that's fairly new right next door to them now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, most businesses gotta get a license through the town, and all that lives in the town administrator's
Yeah.
office, so.
so
They
I'm
should have
I'm happy to tackle that part initially.
That would be wonderful that we could get a list.
Yes.
And Craig, what you were suggesting is from that list, then we divide the list up and go and knock on the doors and provide it. So we wouldn't, if I'm understanding correctly, we wouldn't have to do any direct mailing, but amongst us here in the EDC that we could divide up the list and go and meet with the owners.
There
I
may
think
be
that's
some
a
that are
great
worth doing
idea.
a direct mail too as well, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think definitely an email follow-up, because we might not get an owner and who,
Right.
hopefully he would get a copy of it, or sometimes owners aren't, they have
Right.
people running their businesses and they don't, so I think we should do both, if
So
we
would-
can.
Laura,
Email
would
and-
you be able to get the email addresses?
That
Yeah.
should
as well?
all be
Okay.
in- That should all be in the office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get the
And-
name of the owner, their email address. I know because it's a lot more work, but
No.
that would be really helpful.
yeah, and someone's gonna have to make a flyer of some sort, even if it's a draft, probably for our next meeting.
Right.
I would normally volunteer for the tech stuff, but I'm really bad at anything like graphics, so I'm not going to volunteer.
Well,
for that.
I can get we can do what I call a tear sheet. We can just get the logo for the town of Grafton, and I can put that together. And
And, Blake, William,
William.
I have a nephew, Blake, but William can, he's here,
well,
8-10 hours a day. If
Um,
and he's got the state. I'm sure he's got documents with town seal.
Yeah,
and
well,
on
hey.
it. So if we tell him, if you want to go in and tell him what we're looking for,
yeah.
I'm sure.
And
he
I
put
can give him
something
I can
together.
give him some examples.
Yeah.
We can provide him with the text. I can write that up. That's not a problem.
Yep.
And I'm happy to. I'm very happy to delegate.
Yeah, well, I think
But, yeah.
it's when we can. I think if we
should.
have staff that's gonna help support us. We should.
Yeah.
Great.
Because all of us are working full time.
It's gonna keep him involved too. which
Yeah.
I think is good.
Right. Laura, do you happen to have a copy of the flyer that went out for the last event for the January 2024 event?
It's got to be in John's.
Yeah,
Files.
it
Wonder
must
if
be.
you
It must be
provided
in. It must be in the files. I'll look
Okay.
again. I was uploading them onto my thing. I was going through them,
Yeah.
and there were letters to people, this, that, and the other thing. It wasn't really an extensive thing, but I'm trying to even remember how we did that. I just knew I was coming, so
I know. Yeah, I know. I think he just put it together and sent out the email. It wasn't something that we voted on or.
no. But what was
Approved or anything.
odd, Justin, when I've been on the board now for about 4 years, and I thought John was the head of the board. His role was never really, when I got appointed, nobody ever really explained it. So finally there was one meeting, he said, well, you all have to vote, I can't vote on it. And I said, like a dunce, why not? And he said, well, I'm not part of the board. I said, okay, perhaps we should have asked this earlier, but what is your function? And he says, well, I am a consultant and I work with the town. And he was a full-time employee in the months leading up before he departed.
Yep.
So what happened was he was privy to the budget and the inner workings, because he had an email, an office here, he was going out on his own and being very energetic about reaching out to the Blackstone Valley, setting up things over at Tufts, the biodiversity, but there wasn't a lot of transparency. Not that, and I don't want to suggest in any way, shape, or form that he was hoarding the information. He was not. He readily shared it. It's just that it wasn't, you'd have to ask. And he had all of those things. And then issues were compounded because nobody told us he was leaving. I only found out when I called to say, hey, John, we haven't had a meeting in a few months. Do we want to put this on the meeting? He said, well, my last day is June 30th. So, again,
Yep.
working backwards, and I basically told Evan and Fiona and anybody who would listen to me, I said, we have to do better at communicating. I said, it was only when I called Amber on the scheduling that I said, well, we're down one person on the board. And she says, I said, we're waiting for the planning board
Yeah,
to,
my understanding is the planning board voted in, I think it was December, to officially make me, because no one else wanted to do it at the time, but I was
well, they had appointed
And-
somebody before you, but
Yes.
that person resigned before they could even
come.
come.
And then we did the vote in December, and I guess there was a confusion in the office as well, because I got asked about 2 days before my most recent planning board meeting, were you ever voted, did we ever vote on the EDC? I thought it was you, but I can't find any notes on that. So it got just mixed
Well,
up.
officially, you were appointed.
Yes.
This is how I found out that Justin was appointed. Nobody told us. We thought it was open. So when I called Amber about the scheduling, I said, yeah, we're down one member, I think. She and I were talking about that. I said, she said, you down one or two? And I said, well, if you go back to our charge, because after Angela came in and said, what was the charge like? When you go back, at one point there were as many as 14 members. Then, so there were different numbers, 11, 9.
Right.
So now the number is 7. So it's been fluid, not static. And at that point she says, oh wait, I think I remember seeing an email about this. And you were appointed November 27th. I said,
Was it November?
November 27th. So I said, well, okay, that's nice. I said, so we're just finding out. Nobody bothered to tell us, because at our last meeting in December, we were talking about this. We had no knowledge here that anybody was appointed. So I said to Fiona and Natalia the other day, I said, listen, we've been working backwards. We're finding out all of these things as we go along. I said, we need to be more transparent. We need to have better communication. It's not, that big.
Yep.
I said, but we're tripping all over ourselves here. And, I understand growing pains and we're just getting back in the swing of things, but, so now that we're opening our mouths and talking about it,
Yeah. Well, hopefully when we bring William on, we can,
yes.
talk to him about our expectations for communication and some other things that we're gonna need him to do to support the commission, and
Yep.
he'll be able to do that. So,
And- Yes. My last thought on the spring event discussion is for me is that for our next meeting, ideally, it'd be good to know what is our actual upper limit on a budget of what we are allowed to spend from the town. Like what is the TA's office willing to essentially give us for this event?
Craig's
so we're
gonna
gonna do
Craig's
lobster
gonna go.
tail or hot dogs?
I know. Well, Craig's gonna go in with his Newfoundland. I'll back you
Yeah,
up with my
right, I
working
know.
line German Shepherd
Yeah.
Blitz. No, yeah, but I mean, you already said you were asking Evan
yeah,
if he could set
he's-
aside 2,500.
He's got, I think he'll have a little bit of money left
Yeah,
for us, so he's got professional services money, or he's got, he's got a fund.
I don't imagine we'll have an issue. It's just
I don't,
I don't want it to be we're gonna book this place. It's gonna cost us $750, $1,000, whatever it is, and then nope, you get $250 or you know,
Yeah.
that kind of
I
thing.
don't-
I can
yeah.
guarantee you that will not
You know,
happen.
I
But I
don't
will,
expect
I
it.
can certainly revisit it and, you know, at least get a range, you know.
Yep.
I'll tell him it's gonna cost 10 grand, and when he says you get 3, I'm like, all right. Please not watching.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so, we should move on to the next, if, unless anybody has any last thoughts on this.
My only thought is if we're looking in May, just to try to help with this, since May is, it's always it's a busy month, you know, with the number of events that go on. Do we want to just get a rough idea to help out when Craig is going and looking and talking to the venues about a date range that this group is thinking of?
I would think probably the first couple of weeks in May, because after that, you know, graduations are happening earlier. You have weddings, you have,
Memorial Day at the end of the.
yeah, you have all sorts of things, so probably we want to get that window in the first 2 weeks. By May, we're not gonna have
Yep.
nor'easters.
The
We have
later
that.
in May we go, the more likely we're going to hit other problems.
Exactly, so, yeah, so early, I would say early May is optimal.
Okay.
I mean, if by some miracle, we can get something for the last week in April, but right now, I think,
Okay.
I agree with what everybody is saying, the consensus is, you know, we don't wanna be overly aggressive for what
Right.
our
We
task
probably don't
is.
want it the same week as town meeting. 'Cause
Yes.
town
No.
meeting, the spring meeting is in May, and I don't know what week that is.
Okay.
Somebody knows, though.
I could find it, but I'm not looking it up right now.
No,
Okay.
no. But we can find that out. So
We'll
we
ask
definitely wanna-
William. Little does this
William
guy,
will know.
little does this
Yeah.
guy know.
Okay, so we're thinking, because if we were thinking of a Wednesday, there's Wednesday, April 30th. And then it seems like maybe we're trying to stay away from Thursdays. It seems like it starts to pick up volumes at the restaurant and things
Yeah.
like that. But, so we have Wednesday, April 30th, and then obviously the next day, Thursday is May 1st. So the first Wednesday in May is May 7th. And then you get that next weekend becomes Mother's Day weekend. So I think the 7th or the 14th, I think we, as you all just said, I think those are the only two really viable Wednesdays that we would be looking at. The
Okay.
7th or 14th, but maybe if we could even consider April 30th. The 30th,
Yeah.
the 7th and 14th.
I'll say for me, I'm not that worried on which specific day it is, as long as we can achieve our needs before then, which I think any of those three you just mentioned, we could. And then if the business says, you know, we are going to be fine to have you on Thursday, then Thursday's an option. That's how I'm looking at it. It's like if the business says, no, Thursday's going to be too busy in May, we can't do that, then we can't.
Yeah. So we basically have, you know, 3 weeks scoped out, the April 30th, which is close to May, and then either the week of, you know, May 7th or the 14th in midweek.
Okay, so on Grafton's website, the spring annual town meeting is held the second Monday in May.
Well, we wouldn't be doing a Monday anyway, so.
Yeah,
No, but that week.
I don't
That
think you
week.
want
Just
us to
Stay
do-
away
yeah.
from that week.
so the second Monday in May is,
Which, God forbid, it leaks into Tuesday night.
so that second Monday in May it comes right after Mother's Day weekend, so that is May 12th.
Okay.
So if we were April 30th or
May
May
7th.
7th on a Wednesday. I only mention Wednesday because Nick Cole's really helpful notes that the Townhouse Tavern, they have their window of Sunday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
And for reunion,
So town meeting would be the 12th, is what you're saying.
yeah, that would be the second Monday in May would be the 12th.
All right, so the 5th of the, I'm sorry, the 7th or the 21st, or or April 30th,
And then,
right? If we're looking at Wednesdays?
If we're looking at Wednesdays, yes, if you don't think May 21st is
I
too
wouldn't get
late,
into
'cause
that late of May, because what about graduations?
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, that's,
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday are all likely okay as well. It's just what the business is going to be supportive of us doing.
So you're thinking the 7th?
That
well,
would be
either that
great.
April 30th or,
Right,
Or April
Or the
30th?
April
Or the-
30th.
yeah.
Okay,
So-
all right.
Or the 7th, yeah, because what will happen is a lot of the businesses we might be inviting, if there are events where they're doing catering or,
Right.
you know, what have you,
Right. The flowers.
or even the spa services in town,
Correct,
they're
yeah.
doing very well. You know, that would be tough.
Yeah.
They're saying, hey, you know, it's not like they just do it in 8 hours.
Right, and then you have prom. And
All right,
all that.
we'll shoot
Okay.
for those dates.
Okay.
I'll ask.
Okay, so the next agenda item, number 4, we wanted to discuss and vote on the EDC's input to the Open Spaces and Recreation Committee. And once again, this one was a big eye-opener to me. It was the first I had heard of it. So again, I talked to Fiona about that, and I sent around the document in the Excel spreadsheet. So basically, this is what we would be voting on. The status is ongoing. The idea here with the open space and recreation, open spaces and recreation committee, this is a long goal. It's more strategic
Yeah.
than tactical. So it's not something that's going to happen right away. It's an ongoing thing. The action item is that we would work with them, and our action item is to explore opportunities for the development of a town trolley or other circulator to connect popular cultural and open space destinations. So that's something that we can, you know, again, pick up in the spring as, you know, and we can certainly research that on our own and as a committee now. But again, it's not something that's a hot button issue, so it is ongoing.
That was a John LaPointe dream. For those of you who know John, I know Angela does. I don't know if you ever
I
worked with him, Justin.
No.
I haven't worked with them, no.
No, he passed, but he was very involved. He was on this committee for many, many years and a lot of other committees. And his dream was to have the Grafton Upton Railroad be able to have stops along the way to do like a Christmas thing and then have other events on the train and actually have dinner on the train and be able to stop at other businesses on the train or other events going on or recreational stuff and have the train be the vehicle to do that with, so it's a
Well,
big
God
lift,
knows
but-
everybody, maybe we should just go to the fire department and ask them to do it, because that Santa on the fire truck thing
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody comes out for that. I'm jesting here, and I don't mean to be facetious or make light of it. So
Right.
this was the verbiage that I put together with Fiona.
So
Yeah.
is there anything on there about, so this is an open space and recreation, is there anything on there that links the two? It's like, I think of Holden Farm. That's an open space, that's a culture, that's a
Yeah.
agricultural, that is now has a business, right? So,
The-
other than working the farm, they have the shanty.
Yeah. This particular thing it came out of the open space plan that the open space committee put together that was voted on, and this is the action items out of that plan that committees and other groups are put to follow up on at least once a year and report back to the committee based on those action items. So there might be things in the plan that particularly do relate to Holden Farmers or things like that, but the only action item for the EDC is this one that's on the screen right now, the explore opportunities for the trolley, etc.
And then the WRA,
So the
WRTA.
so the planning department did a comment on this with Fiona, where housing units at 8 Pine Street remain undeveloped. Planning is continuing to work with the WRTA when new projects come online to see where where stops can be added, improved, such as Snow Road, 124 Westboro Road, etc. They are also coordinating with CMRPC and MassDOT to improve safety and bus shelter infrastructure at eligible WRTA stops. Namely, the stop on the common is one example.
Yeah. To me, that has nothing to do with what the charge of this committee is, though.
I know, but that was
We have nothing to do with developing residential housing up on Pine Street.
Yeah,
Unless
agree with you.
that's
I
a
think
mixed
the-
use.
The action is, that was the planning department's comment around this
Yeah.
topic, but
Yeah.
the action is to connect popular culture and open space destinations. I think that does have a a slight overlap with this committee. Like, for example, connecting to the common is a good connection for a business at the common. Connecting to like where Reunion is another.
What with the buses? You mean?
with the
or-
buses, or if there was a trolley, or any
Yeah.
other, or a town. Even
Yeah.
if it's not WRTA, if it's a town bus that does just take some laps around the town every hour, it could be useful for people that don't otherwise have a car or easy transportation.
Right. No, I'm fine with the transportation piece, but not the. Not anything revolving around residential development, just because it.
No, our,
It's just
our
not the
action,
place for it here.
our action item is solely limited to,
That yellow.
well, that was the ongoing and that was the remarks. The action item was the explore opportunities for development of a town.
So that's the only action item.
Yeah, for us, that's,
Oh.
that's
All
specific
right,
to
I
us.
thought there were other ones.
Yeah.
All right.
So so we should be able to,
That's in the remarks. Okay.
Yeah, so-
I'm with you now.
so basically Fiona was requesting that we voted on
Yeah.
that action item. It's ongoing, it's nothing that's
Right.
going to have to, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the action item related to transportation for the open space and recreational plan.
So the action item was already approved from the open space committee. That's why it's on our thing. The action for this board, to my understanding, is to discuss and vote on essentially a report to send back to the open space committee regarding this action item.
The input to the open spaces. We're giving
like a
input
lot.
to the
Because
open spaces.
this is the
and
same.
recreation.
The most recent planning board meeting we had, we kind of did the same for the planning board, and it was to give a report of our status and any remarks from the committee on the action items that were
okay,
listed.
that was not my understanding in
That
talking.
action item, our action.
No,
Or the action
no.
item of the
In-
The open space
open
and rec.
space.
So,
Okay.
so we
Yeah.
support the action item.
Yes,
Okay.
we
Yeah,
support
we
it,
can-
so
we can
that's,
send that
that was
Okay.
my understanding with talking to Fiona, and she said
Yeah, they're
this
making
should
this way
be,
too complicated.
I know, Fiona said, this is, an easy one,
Okay.
so,
So we're just saying, yes, this sounds like a good idea.
yes.
But do we know, it's just still unclear to me, explore opportunities, is that for us to explore opportunities? Or Justin, did you get a sense from the planning board who would be
Well,
exploring opportunities?
This wasn't on the planning board's list when we went through it.
Okay.
'Cause this is for this committee.
No, it's not us, we're just saying, yes, we approve of this. Of exploring the opportunities.
Right, do you know who's gonna be doing the exploration, who's gonna be doing that work?
Well, it's gonna be the Open Spaces and Recreation Committee working in tandem with the planning board.
I think I have a different understanding, but I think we can either we can vote to say we support the action item right
Yeah,
now, and
that's-
then we could, if there is a question, then that is different. They want a different thing. We can come back to
Yeah,
the next meeting and
yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
Good.
Fiona,
We're spending a
Fiona,
lot of time on this. And
That's what
we
I was
have other
thinking.
stuff to be doing, not
Yeah.
talking about,
No.
approving something that.
Well,
open
Fiona
space and
thought
rec,
it was
we're about,
pretty-
like this far apart.
was,
I just, and I'm so sorry, cause I'm just confused on why it would be before us, so the only thing I was curious about is maybe if we could just get some more information,
Yeah,
some
we
clarity.
can table it
Yeah.
until.
she we have to have the vote. The vote has to be in by the 31st, from
Well-
what Fiona told me.
My understanding is there is no actual, it's a expedition of the open space committee that we do pass something back, but if we
They're gonna
don't
put
have
it
an
in the
answer,
right place.
this,
Right, they're gonna put it in the plan anyways.
yes. So if
Yeah.
we don't have an answer this week, or we don't have the right,
I don't know,
right
when I
answer,
talked to Fiona, she seemed to think that this was pretty straightforward and an easy vote. If you folks disagree, that's fine.
it probably is. It's probably just where
You
I
don't
think, I
want
think
to.
we're all. No one here is certain exactly what they were asking us.
Yeah, well,
Like I said.
no, but I don't think it's going to become any clearer
I think
in
it
the
will
next
be,
week, or two.
I think it will before the next meeting, because we can get Fiona or Dave Robbins, who's the chair of the open space committee, to either tell us.
Can't we just make it clear on record that we're saying we as the EDC think it's a good idea for the
Yeah, that's all we're really doing.
Open Spaces and Recreation Committee to explore the
Yeah,
opportunities,
that's,
Yep.
period.
yeah, that's fine. And that was my understanding.
Yeah, I know they're still meeting, so I don't see the deadline. I don't know what the deadline is.
Yeah, we probably don't want to
Okay,
go down too deeply and fall into the rabbit hole on this.
okay.
Yeah, I say we table it. That's what I say.
I'm okay with.
But
completely
I understand
tabling.
what you're saying, and it may be fine, but I don't know why we're commenting on anything on the open.
Because
space
it got,
plan.
it's.
Anyways,
that
because
was
we're
one
the
of the
EDC.
That was one of the requirements that the town has along with the annual report, so. Again, this was just passed on to me in the past.
Yeah. No,
Week
this
or
is
so.
new to me, so I don't.
Well, there's a
remember-
lot of things.
I don't remember ever doing this.
As an FYI, the Open Space and Recreation Committee oversees the implementation of the Open Space and Recreation Plan. They request annual updates from responsible parties on the implementation of action items assigned to them. So this is, to my read based on that, we are assigned this action item and we are reporting to them the implementation of it. But I think there's enough confusion. I
Yeah,
think we can table it.
It's
and
very,
back-
it's very, it's very convoluted, yes.
Yeah.
So,
I'm happy to table it and we can talk about it next meeting.
okay, motion to table this,
Yeah, we
In
won't need
favor.
a motion
Oh,
for that,
okay.
just
okay.
no vote.
Okay, so, other business, if necessary, you thought you were gonna get out of here, quick. Okay, this one is an easy peasy one.
Okay.
I promise. So the other business, and again, this has been coming, all these little things have been coming up. And, I feel like I've been going out, down the rabbit hole. So, but one of the things that Natalia asked me about this week to put on the table is we had, through John Allen, and the town also has access to, Survey Monkey to do surveys. I have Survey Monkey as part of my business. It's $497.50 a year. Do we want to continue with that? Now, will not come out of our budget this year because when John got it, he was able to get that as a one-time thing. It was paid for by ARPA. So we're fine for this year. It won't come up, this won't come up again until January of 2026. But the question is, and the reason the planning department wants a yay or a nay on this from us now is because we don't want to be automatically billed for next year, which is what happens. Now, what I would say, Survey Monkey is a very useful tool. $497.50 for an annual professional membership is money well spent. And it's also, that's very economical. Because I've tried a lot of these different survey tools, so
Yeah.
they do a decent job and it's, it's very straightforward. So I think that's,
my biggest thought is that if we're only doing one survey a year, that's roughly $500 on spending for surveys. That's not Survey Monkey is really great. Yeah, I don't get me wrong, but is it $500 for one survey great? Where we're gonna get maybe 50, 100 people at most responding to it, or is something that is maybe not as intuitive, not as pretty, like Google Forms can do surveys that go into Google Sheets.
no.
It can, and that's saying it's not great.
No, it's not great. This is my stock in trade. It is not great. It is insecure. There is no service and support on Google. Okay?
I will say I have used it with my job many times, but I'm in the tech industry directly, and I'm dealing with tech.
I'm in the tech industry.
But-
I'm in the tech industry
My-
as well, and have been for the over 25 years.
Yeah, my main thought is I'm okay spending for Survey Monkey if we need to, but the bottom line is, are we gonna be doing surveys. That's my biggest concern. It's like if we
Well, one of the things is that we might be able to share it with other boards in the town as well. But the issue is, I do think it's not gonna be necessarily just one survey. So for example, if we have an initiative, you know, where we're wanting to talk to these other businesses.
Yeah. Is this our decision?
Yeah,
I guess only because
Yes,
John,
yes.
So it's not on the
Signed us
agenda,
up.
we really can't vote on it tonight, I'm sorry, but
I think because
John.
John originally
does,
signed us up for it.
okay, does anybody else in the planning board, like, is there anybody else, let me back up. Does anybody that works in town hall or any board or committee have access to this?
yes,
Okay, so other departments, if the selectman's office or town administrator's office or the clerk's office or somebody wanted to send out something, they could use this
Account.
this
Yes.
subscription or account
yes,
is under the town of Grafton umbrella.
yes,
All right, so we're talking about $500. So I don't know if they've used it. I don't even know if the other
yes,
departments know that
they
it
have,
exists.
they have used it.
I can see like DPW maybe
Hmm.
using it or something like that. You know,
yeah, and I'm less concerned about $500 if it's more than just our like I said, it's more than just our committee using it and the rest of the town.
that's why I'm wondering why it's
Yeah.
our decision. You know,
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's our decision because John initially
Yeah, he-
implemented it. And by the way, when I constructed the business, remember the business survey that we sent out last year? What happened was the select board and the town cribbed on that survey to also send it out and,
You know what would be great is if when we do this event, if we have a sign-in sheet at the event and we definitely get the emails to send out a survey to them saying did you enjoy the event? Was it the right night? Was the right time? The right venue? Did you like the speaker? How would you change it? Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So for $500, if everybody in town hall has access to that, I'd say we try
Yeah.
it for a year.
I mean-
right? I mean,
Yeah, for me, it's just easy. We don't have a budget, and John Allen had a budget. He was able to do that. I appreciate the update that we're a year away from a renewal. And I think the best way to allow all the other town departments and committees to be able to have access is for it to be paid under a line item budget for the town, not for the EDC.
Yeah.
That's just my thought where we don't have a budget.
right.
I'm sitting on a committee that has no budget, so we have no ability to fund something right now. And I realize that the bill is not due in 2025, it's 2026. So I think it's great to have this heads up a year from now. All that I care about is, I think it's great. It's
But-
great to be able to have access to a tool, a resource, as long as it can be made available, again,
Yeah.
for all the
Well,
town
again-
departments and the committees. I just think it would be better it would be better funded under a line item that would be applicable for town and committee uses.
well, yes, but Natalia needs to know yes or no.
I just don't have any money to give a yes to, cause there's
Well,
no budget
that's,
here.
well, see, that's the other thing, and we're in flux, and again, I'm getting hit with these things
Sure.
in background as what, this is the first I'm hearing about it, just, could you put this on the agenda? And I'm saying, okay, yeah. So I'm only finding these things out going backwards.
Yeah, this is going to end, I think. If Will, the discussion should really be between Will and Natalia, probably on something like that, right? It's not this committee's decision to.
Yeah,
just
well,
where we
I
don't
would
have a
say that
budget,
we're in, from a theoretical perspective, we are of course in favor of having a digital tool like this.
Yeah.
Which can, assist us in doing our job and enhancing and further our goals, but it's not, but yeah, somebody has to give us a line item. And I think one of the things that we've been hearing, that I heard from Fiona this past week, as we were conversing, she said she is supporting giving us, back a line item on the budget. And she said, and she knew that Craig had been talking to, and Evan told me this afternoon, he knew that you were also working towards this, as we discussed in our last meeting in December, with the select board. So basically it's looking good, obviously, until it actually happens, but
Right.
they are supportive of what we're doing, trying to get this thing re-energized, reinvigorated, and they like the mix on the board, because we're all business people.
Yeah.
And we're all Graftonites, so,
It's so interesting, right? Because John Allen was not a member of the EDC, and so it sounds like he was a consultant or an employee. It's really unclear to me, but
he was a consultant who
connected to the planning department. So I would be in favor of this conversation going back between Natalia, William, Evan, and them working towards some resolution. I think what I'm hearing as a consensus here is that we're not opposed to this resource. We welcome the resource. We welcome it being made available to all committees and town departments. But because we don't have a budget right now, it should go back to those who have the ability to identify a line item that could fund this.
And that'll be Evan's job.
Yeah.
yes. Oh,
That makes the
you
most
talk
sense
like
to
a
me.
lawyer. Have you ever thought of becoming an attorney?
Yes. I'm just thinking from our perspective, it's like the basics of good governance, right? It's kind of, tongue in cheek earlier, like would we like to have a lobster tail, feast and get together with the businesses? It's interesting. And I agree with you, Laura, as we're asked these questions, it's helpful because we are going back and trying to work forward. We just don't have a budget, but
Well,
we're
and I
in
think,
favor.
I do believe that we will get more closure and more affirmative action, if you will, quote unquote, on this within the next month. I mean, they want us to do a lot. Clearly, they're looking for this, but we just can't be ministers without portfolio or
Yeah.
budget. I mean, that's not sustainable, and it also hampers us in saying, well, what can we do even to have an event, or what are we, where are the teeth in this?
I agree.
Okay, so I will go back, so when you write this up, I'll go back to Natalia and say, hey, we like it, but where's the money for this coming in? And I think it should be something, the town should have an account
Definitely.
as the town.
Yes.
And,
Because then other committees
Yes.
can use it if they want.
well,
Yes.
yeah, it makes sense
Yes.
to do that, and then,
Yes.
I work with SurveyMonkey all the time, and it's a very, very useful tool. And not only that, but there should be some cross-pollination and not just silos,
Agreed.
so that, hey,
Agreed.
the Open Spaces and Recreation Committee, the Select Board, hey, let's see what
Correct.
results you got from the survey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes, from that sense, so I absolutely agree on that. Two other items. One of them is gonna be a really sticky wicket. Okay, so this week I was in email hell with the dates. And I should say, mea culpa, we were supposed to meet on Monday night. So what had happened was, I'm going along and, it's the first week in January last year, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I have to get this to Amber. And I got an email from Angela saying, Laura, did you get the stuff to Angela last night on Thursday? I said, oh, she can get it. The meeting is Monday night. She can get it Monday morning. So it's like, no. So Amber rather, excuse me. And Amber comes back and said, no, we need 48 hours notice. I said, well, it is 48 hours. If you got it Friday morning, she says, no, it's got to be in on Thursday night. Well, the only good thing about that, in talking to Amber, going back and forth, was that's how I accidentally found out that Justin had been appointed here. Then in looking, we did such a great job of picking our meeting dates for the first 4 months. Uh-oh, what are we doing? So something's got to give here. I don't think we're either going to have to change the day, the dates, or the times. So, for example, Angela can't, she's driving in from Boston, so 6 o'clock is not going to work for her. You've got the planning board meeting, which is a conflict, and we know that was an issue for Prevu, who was your predecessor.
Yes.
So, and this is the only, we can either use the Grafton conference room, this conference room A, or the Grafton Cable TV
Yep.
thing. But we don't want to be, we're coming into conflict with the planning board and select board meetings.
So,
So I think,
So there's,
Yes.
we're the only two
yeah, so,
representative bodies, right?
yep, so Monday's at 7, so if we are doing it in the cable TV studio, I need to be leaving like quarter of to make it to my planning board at 7.
Right.
And then that's the one, I can do 6, you know,
Right, but Angela can't, so it's gotta be a Wednesday or a Thursday. We gotta move
or a
it to.
Tuesday.
I
If we
meet on
have-
Tuesday.
Oh, okay, you,
Unless it's an off Tuesday, but,
You know.
you know.
okay, and on Thursdays, we don't, I'm also
Actually-
on the Grafton Emergency Management Committee. Now, we meet on Thursdays, however, it's not every month.
Okay.
But it's also at 7 o'clock in the Grafton Police Department. So, yeah, so it sounds like,
Do you guys just meet twice a month?
on average twice a month, we have our schedule for the full year.
But you guys don't like, is it first and third
It's-
Mondays?
It's a little bit kind of hand wavy because there's some weeks that have, you know, holidays and there's some weeks that have like town meeting. So we
Right.
tried, it kind of juggles
I was
around a
gonna
little.
say, we could do it off Monday and keep it on Mondays, cause it's not every Monday, but otherwise we gotta move it to,
well, that was though, remember, that was the problem the last time though.
Do
One of the reasons we were picking this, you know, Mondays are popular holiday things. So if we're doing an off one, that brings us into conflict, you know, into conflict with, you know, the planning board. So maybe, so do we move the date to Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, which might be the easiest, Wednesday at 7, because in talking to Bob DeToma, I've been talking and emails flying back and forth with me and everybody this week. You know, my head's going to explode. They're usually wide open at the Grafton Cable TV thing, except on, you know, some of those
Yeah.
Mondays, etc. So my sense is we might be better off moving the day to a Wednesday when we're not coming in direct conflict with
Okay.
holidays. I mean, the only holiday that actually takes place on the date is the 4th of July
right,
or Christmas, you know. So we might be better off doing Wednesdays. And I think the 7 o'clock venue works for people. So then the most pressing thing we have is to set a date for the February meeting now. So in looking at February,
I would love to do the first week in February, that first Wednesday. Because
the
we're
5th,
just because because we're working on this spring event.
yes.
So I feel like if folks had availability for that for Wednesday, February 5th, that would be
I think that's a good idea.
I can't make it, but
okay. Would yours be like February 12th, Nicole?
yeah, that Wednesday's free.
Okay.
Yeah, which would actually be a month from now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So we could do that.
We're saying the 12th?
I think what's important, right, is we've got to be able to have a quorum. And so
yes.
we've got 7, there's 5 of us here. So if the 5 of us, in case something were to happen, you know, and somebody has a conflict, if we could at least have a quorum. So if the 12th is going to be a go, we could
7?
just do it for 7.
Yeah.
My only comment to say is I do have some kid stuff going on pretty much every Wednesday till looks like near the end of March with the family. I expect I'll be able to still do this without any issue, but I'll know more for certain once I've talked to my wife and family.
Yeah, no, understood. But I mean, there's a possibility, you know, there would be the flexibility to have a Zoom meeting too. So,
Zoom would be more likely to be possible if I can't do it in person. So yeah, that
Yeah.
should be fine.
but we just want to get something on the books. But it was clear to me because we had already set the thing. Oh, January 13th, February 10th, March 10th, and Monday, April 14th. So,
So we'll just move them.
yeah, we'll just move it and then see, we need to get, I'll try and get feedback from Carl and Sean. Sean is a tough one because he's always saying he can't get his emails. And it's like, I have like 3 different emails for him, the EDC too,
Oh, really?
his wife's email, Carol, and then his at WPI. So, which he still has. So this is a little bit, I feel like we've been herding cats here,
Yeah.
but,
So if we're gonna post, the last thought would just be posting an agenda by having it on a Wednesday. Our agenda, the latest it can be posted
is
going to
Monday,
be that Monday.
Yes.
yes.
And if I understand correctly, when I go to the town's website, I think that they even look for you to come in a day earlier
Yes.
than that. But at the very latest, because we need the 48 business hours, so it would need to go in no later than Monday afternoon.
Yeah, well, I can get it in earlier. I mean, what our agenda is gonna be next time is a continuation of what we've had here.
And if you get in early enough, you might even, depending on what's going on, you might even be able to get this room.
Yeah,
Because there's not many committees that would bump over first come, first serve, and it's basically select board, planning board, and I think just, school committee. I think those are the only ones that bump.
and there could be, yeah, there
Yeah,
could
they
be, yeah, there
meet
could be.
upstairs, and it's on Tuesdays for school committee too, so.
Yeah, and I do think we want to have the ability to have the Zoom meetings.
Yep.
Especially in February and March, because we don't, we've been lucky so far with the weather, but
Right.
this being New England, wait 5 minutes and it will change. So we want that flexibility if we were all gonna have, a Zoom meeting.
Is there
Okay.
anything else?
No,
No.
We're good? All right, I just have one thing. I met with Craig Blaze from the WBDC in Worcester, and had a good conversation with him. He would like to come in and meet with the EDC. So, he's been around forever. He's kind of a mover and shaker in Worcester, does a lot of commercial and economic and industrial development in the city. He's very aware of the history with Discovery Drive and Tufts and Centec Park. He was around for all of that. So, talk to him
who
about
is he with?
the Worcester County, the Worcester Business Development Group, I think, or Commission.
And how do you spell his name? Blaze, BLAZE?
IS.
BLA.
BLAIS.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
Craig.
French, okay,
Craig,
great.
Craig, yeah. And so anyways, so he would like to come in here and he seemed optimistic and willing to help us on trying to do something with Discovery Drive. And a lot of it relates, he refreshed my memory on some of the stuff with Tufts, some of the hurdles that were implemented when we built that road that are attached to those building lots. Like you can't buy those lots. They're 99-year leases, and I had forgotten that. So that's a deterrent for businesses that want to put something there without owning the property. So with a new team at Tufts and we're about ready to go in and negotiate a new pilot with them. So it might be an opportunity to see if we can get some of that stuff changed, and I would definitely take his lead and experience and expertise in this. So anyways, great meeting. He wants to see if he can help us, which was really good to hear because we need it. So I will keep you posted. I am gonna have him come in and meet with Tim and Fiona, and just, kind of circle back and,
Tim, you mean Evan?
I'm sorry, Evan, I say that all the time. Evan and Fiona about, just talking through the Tufts thing and maybe come up with a little bit of a strategy, so.
Okay. All right, I
Yep.
think we've gotten through a lot of things, or we've at least gotten caught up on things. And hopefully there won't be, now that we're coalescing as a board, hopefully there will not be any more surprises and things to find out, so, yeah, it was just crazy finding all these.
Yeah, I know.
but no, that's okay, and, Angela's done a great job with the minutes of the meeting.
Thank you. So I do have it down, Craig Blaze, Worcester Business Development Corp., and that he's interested, so,
On talking about Discovery Drive, et cetera, and then we did the last time talk a little bit about other guest speakers
Yeah.
coming in. Fiona does want to speak at the February meeting. But all in all, I think we've made some really big strides and positive steps.
I would say, well, we talked about bringing in, somebody from Westboro.
Yes.
correct.
So we still haven't done that yet, and if Craig wants to come in February, maybe I should push him till March if Fiona's coming in. Now, what does Fiona wanna talk to us about?
Just how we can work with the planning board, what we need, getting, she was gonna support us being back on a line item on the budget, so, maybe we want to have Evan and Fiona come in next time, so we're not,
Yeah.
it's not so
I
much,
think we could
That's
do,
not really Fiona's decision on the budget, that's
Yeah.
well,
Evan's
she said
decision.
she didn't say,
She would advocate for it.
she said she
Yeah.
was supporting,
Yeah.
she
Okay.
was definitely supporting and advocating for
Yeah.
it. I don't want to misspeak or
no, I
mischaracterize
understand,
anything
yeah.
here.
I would welcome the invite for Craig Blaze, because we have had that for the, I believe it's for the Marlboro EDC, and we did, Carl Moisen did have, he did have a speaker, and then it
Yes.
was like a last minute cancellation.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it seems worthwhile at this point if we could bring in a speaker who would say yes to it. That would be great, and we could, my thought would be to have them at the beginning of an agenda, so that they're not waiting, while we
Right.
go through business and housekeeping items. We could save those for later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that idea.
That's just
too.
my thought,
Yeah.
just to be respectful of a
Yeah, no.
guest speaker's.
And it's unfortunate we can't go back and forth on email outside of the meetings to get get input from Carl and Sean. But
What, on agenda items, or input on what?
input on the things that we've discussed here and voted on, and the meetings. I guess we can ask
Yeah, you can ask.
what
them
works
that.
for them about the meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will just, right, just for the
Yeah,
attendance.
as far as the meeting
yeah.
schedule.
Meeting
Yeah.
schedule can be communicated.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
that's
can't
fine.
talk about anything else that's.
I know.
The
I'm
topics.
just being very circumspect. Oh, there was one more thing. Just
We
when
better
we
hurry
thought-
up, cause
Okay,
I'm about done.
We have, in talking to Natalia and Fiona, there is like a code of ethics, a COE thing that we will be signing. I have
A conflict of interest statement?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Every board and committee needs to do that. The state requires it every 2 years. The town likes to ask it for every year.
Yeah, guess what? I don't think we've done it on this board. We
Yeah.
had COVID.
I've done it on it for another board already, though, for the town. I don't have to do it again, do I?
You're supposed to
I
have
have
at
to
least
do a
in,
code of ethics for
on the-
every committee you're on?
on the
No.
form.
Only you.
On the form that they ask you to do it on, you are supposed to list every committee that you are on at least. Like you can do it once and have every committee
Yeah.
you're on, every board you're on.
Okay.
But you might just have to
Oh, no.
fill out the
If
form
they ask
depending
me
on the
or not.
timing.
Yeah, so I don't recall if I did it. I know I didn't do it for this one. I don't think I did it for GEMA, but I just wanted to let you know, I will
Alright.
send everybody,
Thanks for the warning.
I will send everybody, no, it's a one paragraph thing. I will send everybody
Okay.
a copy of it. But this is what I've been doing. Okay, so motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.